Welcome to the tutorial series how to use Quest framework. In this tutorial series I'm going to show you how to create an example quest in the quest graph. And the quest we are going to do looks like this. So first we will find a portal. When we walk to the portal, we need to stand there for 5 seconds, and after 5 seconds there will be 4 cubes that spawn to the level. I need to push the cubes to the portal, and after the player has pushed the cubes to the portal, cutscene is played, a couple of doors are opened, and then I just need to walk to the end. In this video we are going to set up the plugin. To start the tutorial we are going to create a new project. So create a new game project, and we are going to use this third person template. Just make sure that it uses blueprints. The plugin works with C++, but for the sake of this tutorial we are going to implement everything in blueprints to keep things simple. So create a new project and we will continue from that. Alright, let's get started. So after you have created the project, head to plugins, search for Quest framework. We need to enable the plugin, so just click here. I have already enabled the plugin, so I won't do that, but for you guys you need to enable the Quest framework plugin. Just click here. It may ask that you need to restart the editor. Just restart the editor and we'll continue after that. Alright, let's continue. So in order to get the plugin running, we need to do initial setup for it. Let's actually create a folder. Let's call it Quest tutorial. So let's put all our stuff here. The first thing is that the plugin requires us to have a valid instance of Quest Manager. The Quest Manager is responsible of loading our Quest assets. The Quest Manager should be inside the game instance, so when you start to play the game, the Quest Manager loads all the Quest assets for us. So let's head to project settings and search maps and modes. Here we'll see a game instance class. So we need to change this to Quest game instance. This comes with a plugin and implements all Quest Manager related stuff by default. If you have your own game instance class and you can't derive from Quest game instance, there's a way to implement the Quest Manager to your own game instance. Check the documentation how that can be done. But we will use this Quest game instance. Another thing that we need to do, we need to create a player controller. So let's create a new blueprint class and search for Quest player controller. This is also the same thing as with the game instance. So this Quest player controller implements all Quest related stuff by default. Basically the only thing that it does is that it has 2 components added to it by default. So if you have your own player controller class, you can add those components manually in a blueprint editor. But we will use this Quest player controller, so let's just select it and let's call it BP underscore Quest player controller. So the 2 components this has by default are Quest framework component and Quest tracker component. In case that you have your own player controller class already in your project, just click here, add, and search for Quest, and there you'll find Quest component and Quest tracker. So just add these to the player controller if you are not using Quest player controller as the parent class. Okay, let's just save this. And then another thing, in order to use this player controller, we need to go the third person and blueprints, and as this uses this game mode, we need to switch the player controller class to the one we just created. So let's select the BP underscore Quest player controller instead of the default one. So after you have changed the player controller class in the game mode, let's just hit play, and the game should run as it was earlier. And after you exit the play mode, let's go to output log, search for quest framework logs. There should be these two lines shown in the console if the setup was done correctly. For now it complains about that there were no quest assets to be loaded, so this is okay since we don't have any quest asset yet. But if you see these two lines here, you know that it should work correctly. And let's continue in the next video.